In the year 3120, Earth was no longer the only home of humans. After many wars and climate changes, people moved to space. They built huge domes where they could live safely. These domes floated in space or stayed on faraway planets. One of these domes was called Neres, placed close to Saturn. Inside Neres lived a girl named Mira. She was 21 years old. Mira had short black hair, a quiet smile, and soft hands. She was born on Earth but moved to the dome when she was just 5. During the journey, there was an accident. A small fire spread through their ship's power room. Mira was saved, but her eyes were hurt by strong light and smoke. She became blind at first. It was very hard for her. She could not see faces, stars, or even her own reflection. But Mira never gave up. Over time, her ears became sharper. She could hear tiny sounds that others could not. Her memory grew strong. She could tell people apart just by how they walked or spoke. Her fingers learned to read letters through touch. She started using special tech that helped her move alone in the dome. Mira worked as a sound designer. She made sound worlds for virtual games and training systems. If someone wanted to walk through a jungle or fly over a city without leaving their home, they used her sound designs. Her job was not easy, but she loved it. Her favorite time was late night, when the dome was quiet and her studio was empty. She often stayed after work to test sounds. She could hear the deep wind of Saturn outside, the soft buzz of the power coils, and sometimes the low notes of the dome's breathing systems. One night, while testing a new forest sound simulation, she heard something strange, a soft voice behind her. "Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you." She paused the program. "Who's there?" "It's Tom, from the AI section," the voice replied, shy but polite. Mira tilted her head. She didn't know him. "Tom? Yes, I came to update a code link." "I didn't know someone was here," Mira smiled. "It's all right. You can stay if you want. I'm just testing bird calls for the morning forest scene." Tom laughed a little. "They sound real." "Thank you," Mira said, turning back to her controls. "Would you like to hear a waterfall next?" Tom nodded, then realized she couldn't see him. "Yes, I'd like that." She played the sound. Water rushing, leaves blowing, distant birds singing. Tom sat quietly, listening. Mira didn't speak, and neither did he for a while. But the silence wasn't heavy. It was calm. After a few minutes, Mira asked, "You work with AI?" "Yes, I build emotional models for training bots. I help them talk more like real people." "Sounds smart," she said. Tom chuckled. "It's fun, sometimes. Lonely, other times." Mira turned slightly. "You don't talk to people?" "Not much," he said. "People don't really notice me." Mira frowned. "I notice your voice. It's nice." Tom went silent for a moment. Then he said, "Thank you." That night, they talked for 2 hours. About their jobs, their dreams, and the stars they had never touched. Mira spoke about her wish to one day float in real space, to hear the silence between stars. Tom told her he once wanted to be a pilot but changed paths after an injury. He didn't say what kind. Before leaving, Tom said, "Can I come by again sometime?" Mira nodded. "I'd like that." From that day, Tom came to her studio almost every evening. He never stood too close. He always asked before speaking. But slowly, the wall between them grew thinner. Mira looked forward to hearing his steps. The soft way he said hello, and the way he always waited for her to finish speaking before replying. One evening, she asked, "Do you like music?" "Yes," he said. "I used to play old earth guitar." "Play it for me," she said. He hesitated. "Here?" "Yes, right here." Tom took out a small digital pad and tapped a few notes. A gentle melody filled the air. It was slow, a little. Sad but beautiful. Mira closed her eyes and listened closely. When it ended, she smiled. "You have music in your hands, Tom." He laughed softly. And you have stars in your ears. That line stayed with her. Stars in your ears. She liked that. She never asked him what he looked like. She didn't need to. She could feel his kindness in his words. She could sense his careful steps, his shy pauses, and his respect. To her, that was more than enough. But Tom was hiding something. A part of him he didn't know how to share. He was not like the others in the dome. Not fully. His body was different. His face had been changed by old wounds and cyber patches. His skin was not smooth, his eyes partly replaced with tech. Most people turned away when they saw him, but Mira couldn't see him. And because of that, she saw him deeper than anyone else ever had. He feared the day she would ask. But she never did. And so the friendship grew soft and slow like morning light. And somewhere in the silence, between notes of music and drops of rain sounds, something gentle began to bloom in both of them. Something like love. Every evening, after work hours, the sound studio on level 4 of Dome Nares glowed with soft lights. The space was quiet, filled only with the gentle hum of sound machines and the sweet tones of nature Mira designed for her projects. And almost every evening now, Tom was there too. Mira waited for his quiet footsteps, and when she heard the soft tap of his boots, her lips curved into a small smile. "You're late," she said playfully one evening. "I brought tea," Tom replied, holding up a small thermal cup. Mint flavor. Mira reached out, and he gently placed the cup in her hands. She smelled it. "Smells green," she said. With a grin, Tom laughed. That's a new way to describe it. Mira had learned how to read people through their voices. Tom's voice always had a calm rhythm. Even when he laughed, it was soft, like he didn't want to disturb the air around him. She liked that. As the weeks passed, their friendship grew. Mira shared her childhood stories, how she learned to walk again using sound beacons, how she trained her ears to tell the difference between footsteps, and how she learned to laugh. Even when she couldn't see the joke, Tom listened closely, never interrupting. Then he told her about his own past, but only in pieces. He spoke about growing up in a quiet part of Dome Vega, where he didn't fit in. How he spent most of his time alone, building small machines and drawing strange star maps no one understood. But there was something. Tom didn't talk about his face. Tom had always known he was different. His face, once burned in a lab accident, had been saved using advanced bioskin and tech implants. Engineers did their best, but it never looked natural. Some people stared, others looked away. As he grew older, he started wearing a thin, smooth cover over his face when outside. It looked like a blank mask with slight lines, made of smart fabric that moved when he spoke. It made people uncomfortable, so he stayed quiet most of the time. But with Mira, he didn't feel the same fear. She didn't ask what he looked like. She never touched his face, but she held his hand when she spoke, and she smiled when she heard his voice. That made Tom feel seen, maybe for the first time in years. One night, while working late, Mira asked, "Have you ever been in love?" Tom was silent for a few seconds. "Not really," he said finally. "Not many people talk to me," she nodded slowly. "Me neither. People think blindness means weakness. They feel sorry for me or try to fix me." "But you're strong," Tom said. "So are you," Mira replied softly. There was a pause between them, filled only by the soft sound of waves from the ocean simulation Mira was testing. "Would you tell me what you look like?" she asked. Tom's heart beat faster. He looked away, even though she couldn't see him. "It's hard to explain." "You don't have to," she said quickly. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." He shook his head. "No, it's okay. I just ... I've been called names before. Machine face, half human. It's easier to be invisible." Mira reached for his hand. Her fingers gently touched his. "You're not invisible to me." Tom looked down at their hands. His fingers were part machine, covered in smooth synthetic skin. But her touch didn't pull away. "You know what I see when I listen to you?" Mira said. "I see stars. I see trees. I see someone who makes me feel calm." That night, Tom walked back to his room feeling lighter than ever. A few days later, Mira received a message. She had been invited to speak at a special event in the main dome. It was a gathering for peace and connection between human and alien communities. Her work with sound design had caught attention beyond Naries. She was to speak about how sound could help build trust across species who didn't speak the same language. She was nervous. It was the biggest event she had ever been part of. Tom met her that evening. "You'll be amazing," he said. "Will you come with me?" she asked. Tom hesitated. The main dome was filled with high-class people. Important officers, alien ambassadors, and even Earth officials. He never liked crowds. He also feared being seen without his face cover. But he looked at her at her peaceful face, turned toward him with trust. "Yes," he said, "I'll be there." On the day of the event, Mira wore a light blue suit with soft patterns that shimmered when touched by light. She couldn't see it, but she said, "It feels like moonlight." Tom wore a long gray cloak with a soft hood. It helped hide most of his face. But even then, he walked close to her, offering his arm. When Mira stepped onto the stage, the dome lights dimmed and a soft forest sound played one of her designs. Then she spoke. "I cannot see faces or flags. I cannot see colors or uniforms. But I can hear hearts. I can feel peace in the way someone speaks. I believe sound is a bridge. We don't always need to speak the same language. Sometimes a melody, a heartbeat, or a soft word can build something stronger than walls." Her voice was gentle but firm. The room was silent. Even the alien guests who used echo sense and vibration hearing stayed still. When she finished, people stood and clapped. Some used sign pads. Others used sonic pulses. But the meaning was the same: respect. Later that night, Tom and Mira stood near a large star screen. Behind it, a real view of Saturn's rings glowed like silver fire. Mira turned to him. "Thank you for coming with me." Tom didn't speak right away. Then he said, "You look like a queen." Mira smiled. "And you sounded like someone brave." She held his hand, just for a moment longer than before. And though she could not see the stars, she felt them through his warmth, his words, and the bond growing between them. After the peace event in the main dome, Mira became well known. People from other domes and even other planets sent her messages. They praised her voice, her words, and her belief that sound could bring people together. But Mira didn't let fame change her. She still worked in her small sound studio on level 4, still drank mint tea, and still waited for Tom's footsteps every evening. One night, Tom brought a music box he had built himself. It was small and round, made of glass and silver. When he turned the switch, a soft song played, gentle and smooth, like water flowing under moonlight. Mira listened with her head tilted slightly, eyes closed. "It sounds like home," she whispered. "I made it for you," Tom said. She touched the box with her fingers. "Thank you. It's beautiful." They sat in silence, the song playing between them. A few days later, a new message came for Mira. This time, it was from the Galactic Unity Council. "A rare honor." The message said, "To Mira of Dome Naries, we invite you to join the upcoming Harmony Project as a peace representative. We believe your work in sound communication can help build strong relations with the alien race called the Varelians. Your journey will begin in 2 weeks. You will be part of a special crew traveling to the edge of human space where first contact will take place." Mira's hands trembled as she read the message out loud to Tom. "This is big," she said. "No humans have ever talked to Varelians before." Tom was silent for a moment. Then he said, "You have to go. You were chosen for a reason. But it's far, dangerous, and I don't want to go alone." Tom looked at her. She couldn't see the worry in his eyes, but she could feel the tension in his voice. "I'll go with you," he said. "Really?" She asked. "Yes, I'll join as part of the AI team. I still have contacts in the Unity program. They trust my work." Mira smiled. "Then I won't be afraid." While preparations began, something strange started happening in Dome Neres. Late at night, security systems picked up unknown signals. At first, it was just static small noises in deep space. But soon, drones on the edge of the dome showed. Unmarked flying objects. Their shapes were sharp, not like Virelian ships, and they gave off no ID codes. People started to worry. The council sent extra patrols. Mira was moved to a safer area, and all peace crew members were watched carefully. Tom, being part of the AI security system, started working long hours. He used deep scan tech to trace the unknown signals. What he found was not good. These ships, they're not here for peace, he told Mira one night. They're hiding, watching, maybe planning an attack. Mira sat quietly. Are we in danger? Maybe, but we'll protect the dome. You'll be safe. She reached for his hand. What about you? He didn't answer. 3 nights before the Harmony Project journey, the dome's outer defense drones were hacked. Alarms rang out. Red lights flashed in every hall. The command center called all teams to respond. Tom rushed to the AI control room. The defense system was failing. Someone had planted a virus in the code. Drones started turning against each other. Cameras went dark. The outer shield began to weaken. Without thinking, Tom plugged himself directly into the core system using his neural link. This move was dangerous. His own brain could be affected, but he didn't stop. He worked fast, stopping the virus from spreading. He rewrote the drone codes, locked out the enemy command, and reset the shield system. By the time the council guards arrived, the system was safe again, but Tom had collapsed. When Myra heard what happened, she ran to the med center. People were whispering in the halls. Some of them looked at her with surprise, others with pity. He saved the dome, someone said. But did you see his face? Another whispered. It's not human. Mira ignored them. She rushed. Inside, Tom lay on a clean bed. His face cover was damaged. A part of his real skin was showing, burned, patched with metal plates and small wires. His left eye was cybernetic, softly blinking in red-blue light. He turned his head as she entered. I'm sorry, he said weakly. I didn't want you to see me like this. Mira walked to him slowly. You saved everyone. I didn't want you to be afraid of me. She sat beside him and gently touched his hand. Tom, she said, I don't care about your face. I'm not like others, she smiled softly. You never were. That's why I care about you. He closed his eyes, and for the first time, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. 2 days later, the council gave a public speech. They praised Tom's bravery. The unknown ships had disappeared for now. The dome was safe. Mira stood beside Tom as they prepared for their journey to the edge of space. On the screen above the ship, the words shined. Mission, Harmony for peace beyond sight. Mira turned to Tom. Ready? He looked at her. This girl who never saw his face, but somehow saw his soul. Yes, he said. Let's go find the stars. The ship named Hopeseeker floated just outside Dome Neres, waiting silently for departure. It was built for peace, not war. Its smooth body was made of white titanium and clear glass panels that could show the stars from every angle. Inside, the crew trained for one mission, first peaceful contact with the alien race called the VRELL. Mira stood near the observation window with her hand resting on the glass. She could not see the stars, but she could feel the gentle hum of the ship, like a quiet heartbeat. Every time it moved slightly, she felt it through her shoes. Tom walked up beside her. We leave in 4 hours, he said. Are you nervous? Mira asked. A little. Not about the mission, Tom said. About what's coming. Mira turned toward him. The strange ships? Tom nodded. I don't think we've seen the last of them. Before the ship left, one final scan of nearby space was ordered. Tom was assigned to assist the Unity Defense AI team. While working on the system, he caught something strange. He zoomed in on a signal, a soft pulsing wave hidden under regular space traffic noise. To the untrained eye, it looked like nothing. But Tom saw patterns. He ran the signal through 3 layers of code-breaking tools. The results shocked him. The unknown ships had returned, and they were hiding in the shadow of Saturn's rings. Worse, this signal showed that they had already sent a small spy drone inside Dome Neres. Someone had tried to access the mission files. They wanted to know where Hopeseeker was going. Tom rushed to warn the captain. The Unity officers took the threat seriously. They launched defense drones towards Saturn and increased the ship's security level. No one was allowed in or out without full ID checks. Mira was kept inside a safe room for a few hours, just as a precaution. When Tom came to see her, she could tell something was wrong. Is it bad? She asked. They're watching us, Tom said. They don't want this mission to succeed. Why? She whispered. Maybe they fear peace. Or maybe they want to stop humans from becoming close to the Varelians. Mira stood up. We're still going, right? Tom looked at her. Her face was calm, her voice steady. Yes, he said, we're going. The ship finally launched. Hope Seeker left the orbit of Saturn and entered the deep black path between stars. It was a quiet journey at first. No signs of enemies. No strange signals. Just cold space and the soft rhythm of engines. Mira and Tom spent time together when they could. They talked about Earth, about dreams, and about sounds that reminded them of home. One evening, Tom brought her to the listening deck. It was a round chamber built to record and study space waves. Sounds from space were translated into audio. Files here. Tom played a recording. What is this? Mira asked. The sound of a comet tail passing near Jupiter, he replied. Mira listened. It was like soft wind mixed with whispers and far-off drums. It sounds like the breath of space. She said. Tom smiled. You always describe things beautifully. But the peace didn't last. On day 6 of the mission, just as they neared the edge of human-traveled space, the ship's alarm started to ring. Unidentified object approaching fast, the computer voice said. The crew jumped into action. Mira was taken to the safety room. Tom ran to the control deck. The object was not just one ship, it was 3, shaped like black knives, moving without light. They had no ID, no signal, no reply to hails. They weren't Varelians. They were something else. Something human-built. But modified. Pirates, saboteurs, or secret enemies. The ships fired EMP bursts, waves that could shut down tech. Hopeseeker shook hard. Lights flickered. Tom saw it happening in real time. Systems were crashing one by one. If the engines stopped, they'd be stranded in space. He made a fast decision. He ran to the core room, opened a locked terminal, and plugged his neural link again, just like he had done back in Dome Neres. But this time, the connection was deeper. Inside the digital space of the ship's brain, Tom moved like a soldier. He bypassed corrupted lines. He rebuilt firewall walls. He redirected power manually to shield generators. His own mind burned with pressure. His hands shook, but he kept going. Finally, the system gave him control of one of the ship's laser turrets. He aimed at the nearest attacker and fired. Direct hit. The ship burst into flames and spun away. The other 2 attackers broke formation and disappeared into darkness. The battle was over for now. Mira rushed to the control room once the lockdown ended. She found Tom sitting on the floor, his skin pale, his breath heavy. You did it again, she said softly. Tom looked up. I had to. You could have died, but I didn't, and neither did you. She knelt beside him and touched his shoulder. You saved me. Again. Tom shook his head. Not just you. I saved this mission, this ship, everyone on board. Mira smiled. That's what I meant. After repairs, the ship continued its journey. The Verilian space zone was near. Soon, the real mission would begin making first contact with a race. Never seen before, but something else had already started. Tom was no longer just a quiet tech worker with a hidden face. He was a protector, a fighter, and a man who chose courage even when it hurt. And Mira, though blind, had seen all of it clearly. As they stood together near the star screen once more, she said, "You know, I've never seen your face." "But I don't need to," Tom asked. "If you could see me one day, what do you think I'd look like?" Mira smiled. "Like someone I'd fall in love with." Tom said nothing. But inside, a spark lit, a hope stronger than metal and brighter than any star. Hope Seeker continued its journey through the deep silence of space. After the attack, the crew worked hard to repair the ship, but everyone knew that danger could return at any moment. Still, the mission did not stop. The Verilians were close. Now just a few more days of travel. Inside the ship, Mira sat in the sound chamber, recording soft hums and distant star sounds. But today, her heart felt heavy. She kept thinking about Tom. He had risked his life again. Twice now, he had linked his brain into dangerous systems to save others. Each time, he came back tired, shaking, but still smiling. Mira knew he was hiding pain. Not just the pain in his body, but something deeper. That evening, she waited in the common room with 2 cups of warm tea. Tom arrived as always, with quiet steps. "I made tea," she said. "The same mint you brought me before." "Thank you," he replied, sitting beside her. They sat in silence for a while, sipping tea. Then Mira asked gently, "Tom, can I ask you something real?" He looked at her. "You always can. Why do you hide your face from me?" Tom went. "Still." She continued, "I never asked before. Because I didn't care. And I still don't. But I want to understand." Tom placed his cup down. He took a deep breath. "When I was a child, I was caught in a lab fire. My skin was burned, and my left eye was destroyed. Doctors saved my life using new tech machines, bioskin, implants." Mira listened quietly. People stared at me. Some called me a machine boy. Others said I looked scary. I started wearing this face cover so I wouldn't have to see their faces when they looked at mine. Mira reached out and gently touched his hand. "I'm not afraid of you." Tom smiled, but it was a sad smile. "I know. That's why I care about you." She whispered, "Then let me touch your face." Tom froze. No one had asked that in years. Slowly, carefully, he removed his face cover. Mira leaned forward. Her fingers touched his forehead, moved across the lines of synthetic skin, over the edges of metal patches and scarred flesh. One eye was smooth and human. The other, small and mechanical, blinked softly. Her fingers trembled slightly, but she didn't stop. "You feel brave," she said. Tom laughed quietly. "That's a first." Mira smiled. "I don't need eyes to see who you are. I already know." He looked down. "What do you see?" "I see someone kind, someone strong, someone who never runs away from danger, someone I trust." Tom closed his eyes. "Mira, if you could see the stars one day, would you still want to be with someone like me?" "I already am with someone like you," she said. "I don't need the stars to make that choice." His heart felt full, like it might overflow. Then, something neither of them expected happened. The ship's come. System beeped. "All crew, report to the front deck. We have reached the Verilian border." Mira and Tom walked together to the front deck. The large viewing screen showed nothing but black space at first. Then, slowly, strange shapes appeared, bright lights, soft orbs of color floating in the dark. The Verilians had arrived. They were not like any race humans had seen before. Their ships looked like living creatures, glowing like jellyfish, moving in slow, beautiful patterns. Everyone on the deck watched in awe. "They're sending a message," said the captain. The ship translated it into sound. It wasn't words. It was music, long, low notes followed by short, bright tones. A language of harmony and rhythm. Mira stepped forward. She listened closely. Then she said, "It's not just music. It's an invitation." The captain nodded. "Then let's answer." Mira opened her sound panel and created a simple melody using human tones, peaceful, balanced, and kind. She added soft earth sounds, wind in trees, water running, and heartbeats. Tom helped her send it out. There was a pause. Then the Varelian ships responded with a sound so beautiful that even the officers stopped breathing for a moment. It was like singing stars. First contact was made. Later that night, Mira stood alone on the star-screen deck. She wore a soft robe and held the music box Tom had given her. She played it once again. The notes echoed in the chamber, matching the rhythm of the stars. Tom joined her, walking quietly as always. "Everything went well," he said. "Yes," she replied. "It was beautiful." There was a long silence between them. Then Mira said, "I got a message today." "What kind?" "The ship doctor offered me something. A chance to try a new treatment for my eyes. It's not perfect, but it might help me see light, shapes, maybe even faces." Tom's breath caught. "Do you want to try it?" "I don't know," she said. "Part of me wants to see the stars. Another part is afraid." "Afraid of what?" That. "If I saw you, I might feel something different." Tom looked down. "If that happens, I'll understand." Mira turned toward him. She held his hand. "Then stay with me when I do it," she said. He nodded. "Always." The next day, Mira entered the medroom. The doctors were kind and careful. The treatment used nanolight cells and gentle neural reactivation. It took just 2 hours. When it was over, she sat in silence, eyes covered by soft bandages. "Rest. For now," the doctor said. "Tomorrow we'll remove the covers." Tom sat beside her, holding her hand. "I'm not afraid anymore," she said. "Neither am I," he replied. In the darkness, her fingers held tightly to his, and for the first time, the stars outside weren't the only things glowing. The ship's lights were dim, set to morning mode. Soft blue glows lined the floor, guiding those awake early. Tom stood outside the medroom, waiting. He hadn't slept all night. Inside, Mira was resting. The treatment had gone well, and today her bandages would be removed. Doctors said there was no promise of full sight, but there was a strong chance she could see light, colors, and blurry shapes, maybe even faces in time. Tom's heart beat faster every time he thought about it. He remembered her words. "Part of me wants to see the stars. Another part is afraid." He understood that fear. Inside the room, Mira woke to the sound of soft music. The nurse had placed the music box near her bed. The tune Tom had made still played gently. "Good morning, Mira," said Dr. Senna, the lead medical officer. "Morning," Mira replied, her voice calm. "Are you ready?" the doctor asked gently. Mira nodded. "Yes." Dr. Senna moved carefully, unwrapping the bandages layer by layer. The light in the room was kept soft, not too bright for her sensitive eyes. Mira kept her eyes closed until the final bandage was removed. "Open slowly," the doctor whispered. Mira took a deep breath and slowly lifted her eyelids. At first, everything was white and bright. Then shadows formed. Colors appeared like gentle waves, blues, grays, the soft tan of her blanket. She blinked again. A shape moved in front of her, a hand. A face, not clear, but real. "I see ... something," she whispered, amazed. "It's blurry, but it's there." Tears filled her eyes. Not from pain, but from joy. Tom stepped in quietly. "Myra?" he said. She turned toward his voice. The shape in front of her became clearer, He wore dark clothes. His shoulders were broad. His face, one side was smooth, the other was slightly shiny metallic. Mira stood up slowly, moving toward him. She reached out and touched his cheek, just like before, but this time, she could also see. "You look just like you feel," she whispered. Tom froze. "And how do I feel?" "Strong, brave, and human." Tom smiled, his throat tight with emotion. "You can really see me?" "Not perfectly," she said, "but enough to know I was right about you." They stood there, holding each other in silence, letting the moment settle deep in their hearts. Later, the ship held a small celebration. First contact with the Varelians had been successful. The crew gathered in the hall, music played, and lights sparkled. Mira stood beside Tom, smiling more than ever before. She could now recognize faces, soft shapes, happy colors, warm light. She didn't need perfect vision. What she had now was more than she had ever dreamed. The captain raised a glass. To Mira, who made the first song they understood. And to Tom, who saved us more than once. Cheers echoed through the room. As days passed, the crew continued studying the Varelians. They spoke through music, color, and shared dreams. Mira worked closely with them, helping the team translate their musical language. One day, a message came from the Varelians. Mira and Tom were invited to visit their ship, a rare honor. They both stepped aboard a Varelian vessel shaped like a glowing shell. Inside, the walls pulsed with light. The air was warm and soft like silk. Music filled the air, not loud but always present. The Varelians appeared as tall, light-based beings. Their forms shimmered, changing with each sound. They made. One of them stepped forward and played a gentle tone. Mira listened carefully. She answered with a soft melody from her wrist. Communicator. The Varelian glowed brighter. Then, using a series of tones and flashes, it sent a message. "You understand the unseen. That is rare among your kind." Tom watched in silence, proud. Mira replied, "I didn't always see with my eyes." The Varelian sent back another soft tune. "You still don't. You see with your soul." Back on the Hope Seeker, Tom sat with Mira in the observation chamber. They looked out at the stars, hand in hand. "Everything feels different now," Mira said softly. Tom asked, "Is that good or bad?" "The good," she smiled. "I used to imagine stars as faraway lights. But now I see them, and I realize how close they feel when someone holds your hand." Tom laughed quietly. "You always say the right things." "That's because I say what I feel." He turned to her. "Can I ask something serious now?" She nodded. "If you could see perfectly again, every color, every face, every star, would that change the way you feel about me?" Mira looked at him, her eyes still a bit cloudy, but filled with peace. "I already saw your face with my heart," she said. "What my eyes see now only confirms what I already knew." Tom's eyes misted. "You really mean that?" "I mean every word." He squeezed her hand gently. "Then there's something I want to do." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver object. It was shaped like a ring, but it held a tiny star crystal glowing faintly. "I don't have fancy words or a perfect past," Tom said. "But if you'll walk into the stars with me, I promise to walk beside you always." Myra's heart beat faster. She took the ring, feeling its warmth. "You didn't need perfect words," she whispered. "You already gave me a perfect life." They stayed in the observation chamber until the ship's night cycle began. The stars outside twinkled gently, and inside, a blind girl who could now see a little and a broken boy who had once hidden from the world sat together, bound not by sight, but by trust, care, and courage. Their story wasn't about what they saw. It was about what they chose to see in each other. The space around the Hope Seeker had changed. Where once there was silence, now music flowed. The songs of the Varelians had joined with human melodies. Light and sound danced between the two species like old friends reunited, and at the heart of this great connection stood Mira and Tom. Their names were now known across human space, celebrated not just for bravery, but for something even more powerful, understanding. It had been 3 weeks since Myra's vision was partly restored. Her eyes still didn't see like others. Faces were soft. Lights were blurred, but her heart saw clearly. Her trust in people, especially in Tom, had grown even stronger. Tom, too, had changed. He no longer wore the old armor suit that once covered his face completely. He no longer hid his injuries. Instead, he walked proudly beside Mira, sharing her light and her strength. The crew noticed this change. They admired how both of them faced challenges without fear. Where some would see weakness, they saw courage. Captain Elan called a special meeting in the main hall. "We have received an invitation," he announced. "The Varelians want Mira and Tom to join them on a mission, a journey through the rift." Gasps echoed in the room. The rift was a strange region of space filled with unknown energy. No human ship had ever crossed it. They believe a shared team of humans and Varelians might understand the rift song, the captain continued. "This could lead to great knowledge for both sides, but it is dangerous. I leave the choice to them." All eyes turned to Mira and Tom. Tom looked at Mira. She looked at the stars through the window, then nodded slowly. "I've lived in darkness before," she said. "But I've never been afraid of it, not when I have someone beside me." Tom smiled. "Then let's step into the unknown together." The journey to the rift began a few days later. Mira and Tom boarded the Varelian ship, a living vessel made of glowing crystal and energy. It didn't move like normal ships. It flowed through space, guided by music and thought. Inside, everything was different. There were no metal walls or loud engines. The ship was alive, and it responded to feelings. When Mira was calm, the lights turned blue. When Tom laughed, the walls shimmered with gold. The Varelians spoke through tones and colors. They didn't use words, but Mira had become very skilled at understanding them. One Varelian, whom she called Luma, stayed close to them. Its shape was like a tall flame, always changing colors. Through a mix of sound and light, Luma explained the mission. The rift is not just space. It is a memory, a place where time sings. To cross it, we must not fight it, we must understand. As they neared the rift, strange things began to happen. The stars flickered in and out. The ship's lights pulsed with old sounds, forgotten memories, long-buried feelings. At night, Mira dreamed of her childhood, even of moments she had forgotten. Tom dreamed too. He saw his younger self before the accident, before the scars, before the armor. They realized the rift did not just test machines, it tested hearts. One day, as they crossed deeper into the rift, the ship suddenly slowed. Luma sent out a message. "The path is blocked. Fear is clouding the way." Mira placed her hand on the wall. She heard faint whispers, doubt, sadness, guilt, not from the ship. From inside her. She turned to Tom. "I think it's me. I'm scared." He stepped forward. "Of what?" "Of losing the feeling I had before I could see. Back then, everything was simple. I trusted people. I trusted you. Without needing to look." Tom took her hand. "Mira, you still see better than anyone I know. Sight didn't change you. It only added to who you are." She breathed slowly. "Then help me let go." Together they sang, not a perfect song, not with fancy notes. Just a soft human melody. Mira's voice was clear. Tom's voice was deep. The tune was simple, like a lullaby. The ship responded. The wall lit up. The path ahead opened. The rift had accepted their truth. Hours later, they crossed fully through the rift. What lay beyond was breathtaking. A field of stars, shaped like waves. Giant rings of light turning slowly. Planets made of crystal, orbiting suns that sang with color. It was not just space. It was art. Luma sent a final message. You have crossed the rift not because of technology, but because of harmony. Human. Hearts carry something rare. You love before you see. You trust before you understand. This is the song that opened the way. Mira and Tom returned to the Hope Seeker months later. They had traveled farther than any human. They had seen what no scanner could detect. And most of all, they had proven that the greatest strength was not power, but connection. The United Earth Council sent medals, awards, even offered command roles. But Mira and Tom asked for something simple, a quiet post near the stars, where they could teach, guide, and share stories. They built a small station called Aurora Point, where humans and Varelians could meet, learn music, and study light. Children came to listen. Scientists came to learn. And often, in the quiet of the night, Mira and Tom would sit under the dome of the station, looking out at the stars. One evening, Mira turned to Tom. You know what I see now? What? He asked. Not just light. Not just stars. I see a journey. I see two souls who met in the dark and walked into the light together. Tom nodded. And I see the girl who taught me how to be human again. They smiled, holding hands, knowing their story was just one of many, but it was theirs. And it began with a blind girl choosing a boy, not by sight, but by heart.